rates across the country, particularly for children and vulnerable cohorts, because it's quite accurate to point out that the levels are falling below an acceptable herd immunity rate, 95%, for some particular vaccine or for some particular disease groups. So I thank the honourable member for her contribution, for her intent, but we won't be supporting the amendment. And I'm not sure if there are any other speakers, Chair, on this bill, but I suspect that's the end of it. And I thank those members who did speak in support of it and understand how important it is for us to progress this.
I thank the Minister. The original question was that this bill now be read a second time. To this, the honourable member for Kooyong has moved as an amendment that all words after that be omitted with a view to substituting other words. The immediate question is that the amendment be agreed to, so I will put the question. All those of that opinion say aye. Ayes. Ayes. Those no? No. I think the noes have it. Is a division required?
Tamil வந்து இதனோட third project. First one was Emoji web series.
So I'll put the question on the second reading. The question is that the bill now be read a second time. We'll put the question. All those of that opinion say aye. On the second reading, the ayes have it. The question is, I have received a message from... Oh, sorry. I jumped ahead of myself.
Second reading, a bill for an act to amend the National Health Act 1953 and for related purposes.
I've received a message from Her Excellency the Governor-General recommending, in accordance with Section 53 of the Constitution, an appropriation for the purposes of this bill. If no member wishes to consider the bill in detail, I will put the report question immediately. The question is that the bill be reported to the House without amendment. All those of that opinion say aye. Those against? I think the ayes have it. I call the clerk.
Government business, order of the day number 2, Social Security and other legislation amendment, technical changes number 1, Bill 2026, resumption of debate on the second reading.
And I call the member for Warringah.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. At a time when 83% of one-parent families are led by single mothers, when family violence and financial abuse remain endemic, when billions of dollars of child support owed to children goes uncollected and unreceived, the government has introduced a technical bill that makes small, piecemeal administrative adjustments to the child support system, while continuing to ignore clear, consistent and long-standing recommendations for real reform. This legislation does nothing harmful, but it is deeply inadequate. And it represents yet another missed opportunity to fix Australia's broken child support system. Once again, the government is tinkering around the edges rather than doing what it is urgently needed to keep women and children safe and financially secure. In Warringah, my electorate office is regularly contacted by single mothers trying to navigate the child support system. Many have left violent relationships to protect themselves and their children. They are working full-time, part-time, whatever they can fit in, caring for their children and at financial and emotional breaking point. They are doing everything asked of them, and yet we hear the same story again and again. Breaking point. Their former partner does not doing everything asked of them, and yet we hear the same child support assessments are delayed or manipulated. Meanwhile, family support payments are made, calculated on the basis of tax returns and incomes pursuant to those tax returns. So on top of everything else they have to deal with, they are often then facing the prospect of an overpayment of the family tax benefit. Because former partners, when they eventually lodge their tax returns, change the basis of which the payment was made in the assessment. And they are told at that point by the Commonwealth that they owe a debt to the Commonwealth, not because they did anything wrong, but because the system allowed their former partner's non-compliance to be weaponised against them. And rather than the Commonwealth assisting and actually pursuing former partners for child support payments owing, the Commonwealth pursues the single parent, too often the woman, struggling to make ends meet. This is revolting, and it is a deep flaw in the system. The government is on notice about it, and yet it has been going on for months and nothing has been done. In 2024, 83% of one-parent families were headed by women. Around 60% of those mothers reported violence prior to separation. Single-parent families experienced the highest rates of poverty, housing stress and material deprivation in Australia. The child support system is decades old and was not designed with coercive control or financial abuse deprivation in Australia. Today, financial abuse is one of the most common forms of domestic violence. As a former family barrister, I saw firsthand how child support becomes a weapon.
Across the country.
Withholding of child support, making it difficult. And the only person that suffers in those situations are the children. Payments are withheld by former partners to exert pressure. Tax returns are delayed to trigger reassessments,